Hey, welcome to the Hell Has an Exit podcast. I'm your host, Brian Alzate. This show is not affiliated with any specific 12-step program. If you or a loved one is struggling with an addiction, please find a local 12-step meeting. If you believe you may need detox or drug treatment of any kind, please call 888-699-9395 to speak to a specialist. The show is sponsored by United Recovery Project, a state-of-the-art drug and alcohol rehab facility. You can visit our website at unitedrecoveryproject.com. Hey, welcome to Hell Has an Exit. I'm your host, Brian Alzate. Today we have a special guest, my close friend, Andrew A. Druski. So anyone who's listening, just so you guys know, please subscribe on YouTube. Check us out on Instagram, probably most vocal on Instagram. It's at Hell Has an Exit. This is all live on video on YouTube at Hell Has an Exit. And today I got a close friend of mine, Drew. I've known Drew since he's been clean. He's gone through a crazy transformation. I think from when I met you from today, it's like totally different person. And I was talking to somebody the other day and they're like, yo, people don't change. And like, I like people do change, but like they stay like true. Like it's weird. Like somebody can be a totally different person, but like who they really are is always going to be embedded in them. You know what I mean? I know for you, like sometimes people see you and they weren't there for the come up. You know what I mean? So like it's interesting because like I was there from the beginning. So like I see that you were like that before you had money. You were like that like before you got clean. You know, you're probably one of the funniest people I know. I'll give you that. And you're one of the few friends that I have that has been able to maintain longevity and recovery and still pretty active in 12-step meetings.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a hell of a journey, man. A long ride. Dude, I remember I used to wash your car.
Yeah. That's how we met.
Yeah. You had the Nissan Maxima and you had the Volsons on there.
Yeah, I love that Maxima. That Maxima was like my favorite, still today, like my favorite car I ever owned. When I bought that Nissan Maxima, like I really felt like P. Diddy. Like I thought I had like acquired everything in life there was.
It was so crazy because like when I got clean, I remember like I probably started washing your car when I had like 90 days clean. Yeah. And like, dude, like it was like, I was just like still like burping up crack smoke and still like, you know, still had like the dope sick sweats and stuff. And I remember like taking such pride in that job. And it was like when you pulled up with that car, I was just like, I was like, yo, and the guy who owned the car wash at the time, Isaac, was like, yo, that's Brian. He got clean at 17. You know, like he's the man. You should holler at him. I was like, man, I know who that dude is. I see him in the rooms. I was like, he's a legend. And I used to, you know, like I used to take so much pride in just like washing the people's cars in recovery.
Yeah, I probably had 4 years clean at the time.
Yeah. And I used to take so much pride in just washing the cars of like the people and like getting to know people. And I remember one time, man, I used to wash the cars at this one treatment center. And the owner, man, he was like, you know, like he was that dude.
Yeah, I worked for him.
You know? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I used to.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, I used to see your punk ass out there sweeping the cigarettes.
Yeah. So
I forgot about that.
So first of all, I just want to say it's like a lesson in like how you do one thing is how you do everything. Because like real shit, you're really good at washing cars, you know? And like I try to tell people today, like a lot of times people think like, oh, well, I don't really care about this job, so I'm not really gonna do my best at it. Like they think that they have to be in a certain position to really give it their all. But like I believe like people that are like you know going to be successful are gonna do their best, whether they're you know a garbage man, whether they're a teacher, whether they have a job they hate, whether they don't have a job they hate. Like they don't know how to do things half-assed, you know? And I remember even when you were washing cars, like you just had sick-ass customer service. You're like, yo, I'll be there in 15 minutes. I'm sorry I'm running late. I'm going to fucking lace you up. You'd come through and then I'd be like, all right, it looks good. And you're like, no, chill. I'm not done yet. You know, you got streaks over here. And I remember like you just made me feel like I got laced up. Like you made me feel like anything that was wrong with the car, you were going to fix. Anything like you missed, you're going to help me out. If you were running late, you're going to make it up. And customer service is, I think, like half of any business, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I took so much pride in that job, I think, because, like, you know, like, I can't speak for other people, but myself, like, dude, I used so recklessly for so long. Like, you know, like, I don't think that I had a W-2.
Yeah.
You know, or a real paying job, like, for, like, 15 years. So like when I got clean and I was given the opportunity to get that job, like I would just for some reason, man, like just getting clean was like my life had changed so much in such little bit of time, and I was like so excited about like finally being able to live life because I was miserable for so long. That like I remember taking so much pride in that stuff, and like people used to think I was crazy.
Yeah.
Like I know, like you, the other guys, like they used to look at me like I was crazy because I would like walk around. Like I worked at the car wash for $8 an hour. I would go to the meetings in my car wash uniform. You know, I'd have dirty Air Maxes on and stuff, and I'd walk around calling myself the Bread King.
Yeah.
And I remember reading The Secret, you know, like being in my halfway house up at night, you know, just reading The Secret. And I remember like just thinking like, yo, you got to talk this stuff into existence. You got to talk it into existence. And for so long, like I beat myself up in my head. I used to talk to myself and be like, yo, you're a crackhead. You're a dope fiend. You know, you ain't shit. You ain't never going to be shit. And that came from like a lot of the emotional abuse at home, a lot of the verbal abuse at home too, as well. So I carried that around with me. So when I got clean, I remember like talking this into existence and walking around, and like I remember telling that guy at the treatment center who like was like a god when I was washing his car. I looked at him, I was like, yo, like I was like, yo, Pete, like one day I'm gonna own that car, you know, like I'm the Bread King, like I'm gonna have that car one day. And he would just laugh at me and be like, yeah, kid, you know, like he probably in his head was like, this motherfucker's nuts.
Yeah, I remember when you used to wash like everyone's car in recovery. You know, you wash my car, you wash Carl's car. Like everyone knew like Drew was just the dude to wash cars. Like I was cool with like the group of kids that you hung out with, but I didn't really know you that well. I just knew you as the dude that washed my car. And I remember you were like mad quiet in the beginning. Like people don't remember, like when you first got clean, bro, like unless they were the kids that you're halfway, you really didn't speak at meetings. You didn't really raise your hand at all. You didn't share. You didn't talk to nobody. I remember when I was working at this treatment center, dude, I was making $12 an hour and I was so excited. One, I was like young, but I had never made double digits an hour clean, you know? And I remember prior to that, I folded clothes at the mall. I was happy as hell at that job. Like, people see me now and they think that I'm happy because I have like an extravagant life now. I remember having 2 years clean thinking life couldn't get better.
Oh, yeah.
Making $9 an hour, you know? And even at that job, like there was times where it sucked, but like, bro, I was happy cleaning up cigarette butts.
No, that shit sucked. I remember one time in the parking lot we were fighting.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, it's hot as hell out here. Y'all clients fuck these vans up. I'm picking up gum everywhere. These shits are dirty as hell. I'm sweating, man. This ain't worth it. I was like, yo, my job sucks. And then I seen you struggling across the parking lot, sweeping cigarette butts into the thing, and you're like, nah, man, my job sucks, but it's better than getting yelled at by these damn kids and stuff.
Yeah, I'd rather work outside and not deal with nobody than to be inside. Because, yeah, I mean, working in treatment is great, but, like, bro, sometimes you have a kid 90 pounds calling you a bitch and he's going to fuck you up or something. But, like, at one point, I only did the UAs and they used to just call me piss tech. I remember, like, all the kids would be like, oh, you're the piss tech? You know, it is what it is.
The thing that I like is that, you know, like I got to see you as that. Like a lot of people didn't get to see, you know, like, and that's what's cool about this, you know, like this opportunity for this podcast is like we get to talk about stuff like that because people don't see that stuff. Yeah. I got a lot of sponsees now and they're just like, you know, like I sometimes like I got these crazy young kids and they call me and they're just like, you know, like I'd just be okay if I had your life, and I'd be like, nah, motherfucker, you don't want my life. Yeah. Those first 2 years clean, like if I had a pack of Newports, a tall boy, a Red Bull, and some girl in the female halfway house phone number to go out on a date with Friday night, I was the happiest man in the world.
Yeah, bro, I didn't need nothing. You know, my first year clean, like there was a lot of ups and downs from like depression and wanting to use. There was like something spiritual about not needing anything. I didn't even know what shoes were up until I met you. Like, I remember for like 4 years, I wore Converse and Vans. And I would look at people's shoes, but I wasn't like into shoes, but I couldn't imagine buying $200 shoes. I remember for my birthday when I had like 4 years clean, it was like a huge decision to buy these $200 shoes. And I was like tripping if I should buy it because it was like a big expense to me.
Yeah, dude, my whole first year, all my wife beaters, my undershirts, like
at the gas station,
they still had the ones I could get at the gas station, but all the ones like that I brought with me to like treatment and to come down here and like move my whole life from New York down here, like my wife beaters at the bottom still all had the green stains from the OC80s. Yeah, because I had the same undershirts for 5 or 6 years. Like there was like in my usage there was no such thing as like new clothes. clothes. You know, like I wasn't like, and
For
it's
people
like,
that don't know, so when you're doing an Oxy 80, you lick it and then you use the bottom of your shirt and you rub it off. So that way, like all your shirts have that green shit on the inside.
yeah, and then the second part to that is you gotta, you know, like once you got the green off, you know, you get it nice and white there, and then you a lot of people like to smash it, but if you're a professional,
You would grind it. Yeah, I never did that.
you gotta get the hose clamp, man.
It makes a difference.
Yeah, dude, it makes it so fine. The powder gets so fine.
I would leave bits of green in the 8.
Oh, you're sick.
I would leave like a little bit of that. I'd mush it up. There'd still be like the time release in the fucking powder. I'd just snort it anyway.
Yeah, that's because you're a severe crackhead, man, and you have no type of patience. Like there was an art to it. Like, you know, like
yeah, it's interesting because like when I first got clean, a lot of people would be like, "Oh, is Brian really an addict or whatever?" And I think some of the stuff I do clean like reflects that.
Yeah, oh yeah,
You know?
yeah. The way you just eat a whole box of cookies and stuff. The craziest shit ever was when I lived with you, and I went to the supermarket. I remember buying these ice cream Snickers, man, and I was like, I left them.
Hold up. When we moved in together, I said there cannot be any junk food in the house.
Bitch, I thought you were playing.
I know, but like I said that. I remember being like, "Yo, Drew, if we're gonna live together, there can't be no sweets, there can't be no chips. Like I cannot have that in the house." Even till today, people come to my house like, "You ain't got no food." I will eat it all.
Yeah, well, you were telling me this when I was 270.
Yeah,
you know,
you
like
didn't care. I know.
I was just like a fat monster, and like, yo, like before we even get into the story, we gotta talk about the fact, like, I don't understand how people in recovery don't struggle with food. Like, if you don't struggle with like food, gambling, or prostitution,
everybody does.
You know, like I kind of think like maybe you didn't. You know, like
you might
like,
not have a problem.
I need to see your drug log.
Yeah,
like
it's finances, sex, food, and shopping.
Yeah, because
if you're in recovery, you're gonna struggle with those things to a degree where like you might fuck your life up. Like that's like because normal people struggle with it, but not to the point where like, you know, you might be getting arrested for some shit, you know, but like in recovery, like if you don't watch your shit, you could go to jail clean. You can fucking fuck your life up clean. You can fucking get some random, you know, girl pregnant that you don't even fucking know, you know?
Yeah, I do.
That's why
I dealt with half of those things.
Hey, me too.
But with like the food thing was just like crazy because like, yo, like I was on a run so long, so when I got down here, I was skinny. You know, like when you're fucking using heroin and smoking crack and just, you know, a foot dragging walking the streets in, you know, New York, like just for your next hit, like, you know, I came down here like kind of soaking wet, and then like in treatment, like I thought it was the craziest thing that they gave you a $60 card to go to Publix. Like, yo, these kids were like in there like getting like protein bars and like, you know, like they were like getting like meals to cook. Yo, they gave me that $60 Publix card. I was sweating in the ice cream aisle in the freezer like a crackhead scratching. Grabbing like 4 different kinds of Briars. I had the honey buns. I was like, yo, I'm gonna put the peanut butter on the honey buns and put the ice cream on top and just, you know, stick it in the microwave for like 20 seconds, just get it nice and soft. And then they bring me my meds at night. I eat my meds and I just fucking eat and eat.
Overeating can be like Xanax in the beginning, bro. That shit will fuck you up. I used to steal ice cream, bro.
In the beginning?
When I first got clean, I stole for like a year. I stole from Publix and Walmart my first year clean solid. Like, I never paid for anything, especially if there was a line. If there was a line at Publix, I was like, bro, they're making me steal this. Like, I really had no idea of like, I didn't understand that like, even if you got away with it or if it wasn't a big deal, like I didn't understand that every little thing you do in life matters. I always had this idea that like, oh, well, I could still do this shit and it ain't gonna be a big deal. I can lie about this and it's not gonna affect me. Oh, if I do this, it's not gonna. I didn't understand that all that shit affects how you talk to yourself, how you interact with people, your trust issues, and like making amends to people and shit.
It's crazy that you caught it. It caught me. It took me. I got 9.5 years clean. It took me to have an 7.5, 8 years clean to like see it.
Yeah.
Like, yo, I struggle with food like with like 8 years clean. I mean, like, and I had accomplished everything I wanted to accomplish. Any goal that I wanted in the recovery, I reached, and I just couldn't do the fitness thing. Like, I wasn't willing to give up food. I remember at 5 years clean, my wife at the time, now my ex-wife, would like, you know, like she would like tell me that like, you know, like you should, you know, like eat like this and do this and stuff. And like, yo, like, and like I would literally go out to a meeting and I would time to make the meeting, and I would tell her the meeting ended at a certain time, and I would make sure that I beelined out the meeting and not talk to anybody outside, jump in the car real fast, drive to McDonald's, get a McDonald's, go through the drive-thru, order a fucking Big Mac meal. I needed a milkshake so I could snort that. I needed an extra, like 2 apple pies so I could shoot that. And then I just wanted, and then I remember like getting there and then the food coming out the window and having the food in my car and then just eating it real quick. And before I could leave the parking lot, just like the drugs, just like it always was when I was copping crack or shooting dope.
You got to circle back.
Oh, wow.
No, I was saying, you circle back and go in there.
And just like it would be like I remember copping on the block and like you would like always want to save like $20. Like I would go with 100 and I get like
not me. Not me, but I know what you're saying.
I would always in my head think that I wasn't going to use that last $20 for drugs. So I'd have $100. I get 20 of crack and 60 of dope. Mm-hmm. And then I keep that $20 real fast. And then by the time I made it to the end of the block, I would turn around and go back and use that last 20 because I was just like, what if this happens? What if this happens? Mm-hmm. I was doing the same shit with food. I'd be in the McDonald's drive-thru and then I'd leave, and before I fucking left that parking lot, I'd be like, oh, I forgot to get an ice cream sundae, or yo, I need one more McChicken. And then I eat that shit in the car home, speeding in 595, get off our exit, stop at the gas station, and go in the bathroom and just throw some mouthwash in my mouth real quick and like throw some water on my face like I was going home to my parents after just, being 18 years old and leaving a party stoned.
With some Visine and some cologne.
Yeah. But I'm fucking covering up the McDonald's scent.
Even my addiction, it got into my fitness because I became obsessively, compulsively working out where it wasn't even like healthy. I wasn't competing. It was really like based on like self-hatred. Like I remember reading this meme that this girl put on social media once, and she said, I don't work out because I hate my body. I work out because I love my body. And that's when I was like, damn, I work out because I hate my body.
Yep.
Like I really didn't love myself, even though I had abs and was super fit and was working out every day. I really had like body dysmorphia, low self-esteem. And that's why I tell these kids that get clean and like want to hop on the sauce and like work out. It's like, bro, you got to love yourself first. And everyone has like their own journey, but like it was harder for me to gain weight than it was to get in shape, because when I would gain weight, I would feel so bad about myself that it would make me want to work out more. It got to a point where I gained weight and I was like, damn, I'm still sexy. Like I was able to gain weight, get stretch marks, and be like, I love who I am. Like this is my body. Like I don't have another one. So like, why am I not going to like it? But at the same time, like there has to be some balance, because I also like fucking gained like 40 pounds and like I'd be fucking drinking ice cream, bro.
Yeah.
I'd be going ham. But wait, before we moved in together, you had never seen me drink a soda. Like before we moved in together, I only ate chicken Caesar salad, grilled chicken, and water.
Yep.
And I remember like you not believing that I have a problem with food, because you saw that I would wake up at 5 a.m, go jogging. I drink a gallon of water a day. I ate super clean. And I remember telling you like, bro, I cannot have sweets in the house. Like I will fuck that shit up. And I remember you thought it was a joke.
Yeah, I did think it was a joke until that day when I got the ice cream Snickers. I had them in the freezer. And
Hold up. First of all, they were the little Snickers.
No, they were ice cream Snickers. Anybody that is a sweets fanatic, anybody that got that sweet tooth from shooting dope and knows a good snack knows that ice cream Snickers changed the game. Dude, I had that box in the freezer, and I remember going to work that day, having a terrible day at work, and I was a fat kid, so I was thinking about them ice cream Snickers all day long. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh shit, when I get home, I'm gonna tear these up. And I remember getting home and going in the freezer and seeing the box open. I'm like, oh, and I picked it up and it was still heavy. And I was like, oh, Brian probably had one or something, like this is cool and stuff. And I remember putting it out on the counter. I turned around, poured a glass of milk. I was like, I'm about to knock these things out. And I turned around and I stuck my hand in the ice cream Snickers box and I almost broke my fingers. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what the hell is in here? And I opened up the box of ice cream Snickers, and you fucking ate every ice cream Snickers, and you hid a bag of frozen broccoli inside the Snickers box.
It was like frozen peas. But yeah, I remember I pranked you. I remember.
Frozen peas? That wasn't no fucking prank, dude. I was upset.
Yeah, you were mad. And like, honestly, I didn't wake up that day saying I was going to eat all the ice cream Snickers. But I remember when you bought it, and I was like, man, I already told them. And then I came home one day, and like nobody was home. Like, the weird thing is that I can eat good in front of people, but as soon as I'm alone with it, like I just start staring at it, and it like talks to me. It's like,
yo, you smoking crack.
Yeah, it's like, hey, it's your old friend. over here in the freezer, you know?
What was the craziest thing is I remember being so mad at you and not believing you.
Yeah, I remember you were like, bro, what'd you do with my Snickers? You threw them out because I'm fat?
Yeah, I thought you were playing a prank on me because I was fat. I was like, this dude threw my Snickers in the trash. And I was looking in the trash and there were no wrappers in there. And I was just like, you know, like, and then I'm like, oh, he probably washed it down the sink or something.
Yeah, and I told you, like,
I was like, there's no way this dude ate 12 ice cream Snickers.
I was almost embarrassed, like, bro, I ate them all. And you're like, nah, fuck you. Like, you thought I was trying you. Like,
yeah, I thought you were trying the shit out of me.
And then when you did it with the cookies, I remember you bought the Publix 4-row sugar cookies.
Oh, yeah, and you ate the whole rack.
Well, you ate like 2. And I remember telling you, like, bro, like, get them cookies out of here.
Yeah.
And, bro, you went to sleep. And I went to sleep, and just like with crack, I wake up like in the middle of the night, and that disease is like, man, you know them cookies are downstairs.
Yeah,
you can have one,
calling you.
And you have one cookie, and the disease is like, who eats one cookie? Just get the milk out. And then I get the milk out, have 2 cookies, and then I'm pouring a bowl, and I'm dipping it in the bowl, and I'm having 3 cookies. And then the disease is like, you can't have an odd number of cookies, just have 4. And then when you have 4, you're like, man, you might as well just finish the whole box of cookies then. And I remember when I ate all the cookies, when you woke up in the morning, you couldn't believe it.
Couldn't believe it.
You were like, there's no way you ate this whole box of cookies.
Dude, it was like 6 racks. You know, like it probably 12 cookies in each rack. That's 72 cookies. Like, you know, like I didn't think that was humanly possible. I was a big boy at the time. Like, you know, like.
And I remember looking at you like, bro, I ate like, I was embarrassed.
I was like, this dude's playing games. I was looking in the bathroom underneath the sink. I thought you hit him underneath the couch. I was like, this dude thinks it's fucking funny, man. Like, you don't fuck with a fat kid's cookies.
What's fucked up about you is that you would order pizza and eat one slice and leave it there.
Oh, and I would used to catch you in the dark eating a pizza.
I'd be pitch black. I'd be eating the pizza, hovered over in the middle of the night. But like, bro, I got a food problem. Like,
that's when I knew that you were a real crackhead. Like, I had heard the stories about like you being 16 years old and like at 15 in the classroom and hitting a crack pipe and blowing the smoke into the book bag. And you know, I talked to people that you knew in recovery and stuff. And
you know what's funny is that I've told that story like one time, but I don't realize how fucked up that story is until like other people bring it up.
Like, I mean, like, dude, like. I'm no one to talk about any other drug addict. I was terrible. Like, I terrorized neighborhoods, states, countries. Like, I did some bad shit. But like at 15, I'm pretty sure I was in social studies class, like, you know, paying attention and like maybe like playing a sport or two, like, you know, maybe a little tree or a Heineken or something. And you're just like, yeah, you know, like I was hitting the stem. I couldn't imagine looking over at someone. That's some South Florida shit.
Yeah, because
in high school in New York, if you like looked over and saw somebody just hitting the stem and blowing the crack smoke into they probably like some hood dude would probably just slap the shit out of you.
I remember, it's not like I wanted to smoke it in class. That's mad dumb. But like, I remember copping the crack, smoking it before school. And it's like, bro, if you still have crack and push on you, it's like, what are you going to do? Not smoke it? No. So then I'd be in class. Imagine smoking crack and you got to wait till class is over to finish it. I'd raise my hand, go to the bathroom, be smoking crack out of a mechanical pencil in school. And then I remember going back to class, burping crack smoke. Like, for people that don't know, like when you smoke crack, you're supposed to like take a big hit and hold it in. So like,
hold it in.
Sometimes
say it with your chest.
Yeah, you got to really hold it in.
Yeah.
So when you'd be taking these big monster hits, sometimes when you blow out, no smoke comes out. But then later on, like it could be 30 minutes later, you'll burp and a crack smoke will come out.
That's the best.
And I remember being in class and I would burp and like a little bit of crack smoke would come out. And then, bro, I'd be coming down. What am I going to do? Not take a hit? And I remember I would just like wait for the teacher to turn his back, crouch down, take a hit, hold it in, open my backpack, and blow it in my backpack.
That's crazy.
And I remember there was like a couple kids in class who were like, yo, this dude's really doing that shit in class. They were like bugging. They were like, what the fuck?
I probably would have been bugging too.
Yeah, I remember they used to call me Brian the Baser. Like, yo, Brian the Baser.
How did it work with the mechanical pencil with, with the push hit?
It was you can't really push a mechanical pencil, but like I had done this probably 30 times where I would bring a glass pipe to school. But there was times where there was this kid, his name was Jude. He had paper chaser tatted on his forearms. And I went to a school, this is when I went to a school for kids who got kicked out of school. So there was times where I didn't want to smoke crack. Like I didn't plan on it. And then he would just be like, yo, I got some. And then I'd just give him my phone, my shoes. I'd promise to pay him back later. And then he would give me a penny worth of crack, like a little rock. And then I'd be like, how am I going to smoke this? So then I would get a mechanical pencil. Then I'd have to wait to go to home ec, because we went to home ec every day, and steal not even the copper chore, but the silver chore, I'd have to rip the chore out, make it into like a screen, stuff it in the mechanical pencil, then go use the bathroom, put a little bit on it, smoke it. It would start melting and shit. You'd be like inhaling plastic and shit.
That's wild.
And then it's like, bro, you really can't. You'd have to make like 3 pens, three like crack pipes to like get to finish the crack, because it would just start melting all over the place.
Damn, you're a professional crack smoker. I'm surprised you didn't get paranoid.
I was paranoid, bro. I remember fucking smoking crack, and I was walking back to class with crack in my lungs still, just beaming. And you know when you're on drugs, you just think everybody knows. I couldn't believe nobody was like, this kid's on crack. Like, no one said anything. I remember walking back to class, and I was high as fuck from just taking a blast, and the security guards started running towards me, and I thought they were going to tackle me. And they just ran past me, and like some kid had like jumped the fence, and they chased them. But I remember just, you know how it is, bro. Just fucking
terrible.
Paranoid out of your fucking mind in school is the worst.
Yeah. I mean, you were doing it as a child. I did it as an adult. Imagine being 30 years old and smoking crack in the basement of your dad's bar.
I get naked too.
You know, like I'm taking my dad owns this bar and nightclub, and the whole neighborhood knows us. You know, and I'd be like, I'm only gonna do heroin today. I'm only gonna do opiates. I'm not gonna smoke crack.
No one wants to smoke crack,
no,
bro. I'm telling
I hated
you,
it.
like,
I told myself every time, and then just like it would just like magically appear, and then it's just like, all right, you know, like just give me, all right, I'll take, just give me $30 worth, you know, like just a little bit of crack. I got some landing gear for the viewers out there that don't know. That's, you know, a nice little opiate to come down, so your heart ain't beating out your chest and you're not going crazy. You know, like I would just start smoking and I couldn't stop. And every time I got paranoid, and I'm a grown ass man at this point, 27, 28 years old, living in my in the basement of my father's bar and nightclub. And, you know, like smoking crack to the point where I'm up for 3 days that I get so paranoid that I think Jamaican drug dealers are outside to kill me. And, you know, like, I would pick up the phone and like I'd get completely naked and I'd pick up the phone in the middle of a snowstorm and call 911. Mm-hmm. And just have the cops show up to my dad's bar and like run outside butt naked. I still got a bad burn mark on the inside of my thigh from running out with a hot stem in my hand, you know, like trying to cover myself up, forgetting that I had the stem grip so hard, you know, like, and like just running out barefoot in the snow, banging on the back of the cop car for the cops to let me in, and like arresting myself. And like just having, and it being like 12 o'clock on like a Thursday afternoon, and like just like everybody's like working and being normal human beings, and like normal stuff is going on
outside in the snow with a crack pipe.
Yeah, just like, you know, like, and my poor father, God rest his soul, like, you know, that he had to just experience that. I mean, like, I think sometimes that him and my older brother used to try to like tie me up and like hold me down so I wouldn't like do nothing crazy when I was in one of my crack rages. And it was like every time, like, you know, like I'd be like, all right, I'm just
gonna do that once.
Nah, it was like 20, 30 times. And I just like would tell myself like, yo, like, you're just gonna, you know, like, you're just gonna hit it a little bit today. And then
not gonna get paranoid. No one's out there.
Yeah.
You're gonna fucking get high. Don't get paranoid. As soon as that crack touches my lips, you're like, who's there? I heard something. Bro, I remember I used to smoke crack, and you know, I just think I was the only person that do this, but I think other people do this. But like, if I don't do this in front of people, some people do this in front of people. But like, if I'm by myself, I start taking my clothes off. Like, I take a hit, the shirt comes off. I take another hit, my shoes are coming off. I take another hit, my socks are coming off. After 20 minutes, I'm butt naked.
Why are the socks always the last thing to come off?
Sometimes you, because the socks protect you.
I know,
your
but
mom
like,
never told you that when you were little.
Nah, I just remember, like, vividly remember, like, you know, like, just being butt naked, crawling on the floor, like, you know, like in New York we had basements. In New York and New Jersey we had basements. Yeah, and it was like the popcorn ceilings. So like there would be like shit all over the floor. So it was like really bad. Like when you were like fiended out for 3 days and you'd be crawling across the floor Rambo style with your socks on, like just picking up crumbs and like smoking popcorn. It would like burn your throat so bad. You just like it was just insane.
I've smoked it all. I smoked half an Ativan by accident. But so I remember this one time I was like on all fours, butt naked, and my parents were awake watching what's the voting show, American Idol. Oh, so I remember, bro, it's like 9 o'clock. I'm geeked out of my mind, pretended like I went to sleep early, and my door's locked. And I remember being on all fours, staring underneath the crack of the door. And I would do this every time. I would get butt naked, go on all fours, and look under the crack of the door for shadows or for like somebody coming. I remember I was staying there for so long, my mouth was open and drool started to like collect a pool on the floor. A dog barked across the street and I was just like, and I was just like run in bed and like pretend to close. You ever try to close your eyes on crack and you're just like.
So insane. So insane. Just your heart just beating so fast, you're sweaty as hell, and you just jump in the bed.
There ain't nothing worse than that. And it's like
the worst.
And it's like every time you do it, the come down does not equal the high. It's the worst fucking feeling. You just want to kill yourself. I've thrown away all my crack pipes. Like I used to, almost every time I smoke crack, I throw away my crack pipe and then like go look for it again in the bushes.
And I think that's the most like when they talk about, you know, like in 12-step programs, when we talk about the insidiousness of the disease, it was like, yo, like every time I smoke crack, something bad happened. You know, ultimately heroin brought me to my knees and destroyed my life. You know, crack definitely destroyed my life too. But like, it just made no sense that like every time something bad happened and I would tell myself like when I came to like 2 days later, whether I was in a psych ward or I was in a, you know, state run detox or like, you know, like just like completely embarrassed, like, yo, the whole neighborhood, like there was 150 people out front of the bar last night, all these college kids, and they just saw my behavior and I would just like want to hide for like a while, and I tell myself never again, and you know, like 2 days, you know, next day you're just right back at it.
Bro, I got tasered on acid butt naked. I got tasered on acid butt naked in front of everybody, and it wasn't like a flattering butt naked, it was like a humiliating butt naked, you know what I mean? And like I remember like the next day being like, I don't think anyone's gonna remember that. For years, bro, people were like,
yeah,
bro, you're that fucking kid who fucking got tasered by the cops naked.
Yeah. I remember like getting arrested by the cops and just like feeling safe in the cop car. And then they take me to the psych ward. I would sleep it off for 2 days. They would release me. I was butt naked. So they released me in the hospital gown and the socks, you know, like with the grip on the bottom and stuff. And I have no cell phone. I have no money. And I have no way to get home, and they just give you the psych ward you would leave in New York, and they give you the little bus pass. And it's like, yo, I'm taking a bus home in a hospital gown and socks in the middle of winter, like trying to figure out how to get home. And it's just like, yo, like how the hell did I get here?
Yeah, I remember.
How did I do this again?
I remember when I finally met your parents. I remember I met your parents. I met your grandma, and I remember I was talking to your grandma, and I was like, Grams, I need to know exactly what Drew was doing because he's told me a lot of stories. I need to verify if they're true. And I remember your grandma was like, this one day he came to my house and he had no shoes on. And just the way she said it was like, I was trying to be funny. And when she said it, I was like, oh shit. You know, you could tell like she still remembers the day you knocked on her door and you didn't have shoes on.
What's crazy about that day was that wasn't in New York. That was in Florida.
Yeah, that was in Florida. Yeah.
I got sent down like I got in trouble. You know, judge was like jail or treatment. You know, I got sent down to Florida to treatment, and you know, I just wasn't ready. You know, I was still, I should have been ready.
How old were you?
23, 24.
Okay.
You know, like
so 23, 24. Your parents sent you to treatment. You just end up using in Florida.
Yeah, just like went to the program. Was like
got introduced to those blues for 12.
Oof, they weren't even 12 back then. I think they were like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And you got to remember they're 20 in New York.
Yeah.
And, like, and it was just like, it was insane. And it was like, my grandmother was living in South Florida, like on the beach in Hillsborough, and had a beautiful condo. And it was like, like, I was such a sick addict that like, yo, like I God rest her soul, but like I took her hostage. Like it was like, oh, here's a free place to live. Like I was like, oh, I'm gonna go back to school. I'm gonna get a little server job in Boca Raton. Like being a server in Boca Raton is like being a goddamn, accountant.
Yeah.
Being a doctor, like at 23, 24, like I was working in some fine dining restaurant.
High-end dining restaurant as a kid is like a fire-ass job.
Yeah.
When you're making like $100 a day in cash.
I was making
tips,
like $200-300 cash, strung out on blues and coke. And it was just like, like it was like, I thought that I had made it. I thought I had it figured out.
That's why when people complain about their food, I'm like, come on, man, them people on drugs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I remember being like, bro, I've fucked up at so many jobs while on drugs. I have so much empathy for people that like are servers or whatever. And not just that, even the people I worked with, bro, a lot of them were like really struggling in life, bro. Like a lot of the people I worked with weren't even on drugs, but they were like single parents.
Yeah.
They fucking had 3 or 4 kids. So like when I see people complain at restaurants, like one, I can't complain because I fucked up so many people's foods. I've dropped so many plates. But yeah, I mean,
and you never know what somebody's going through, man. Like, you know, like fucking no. I met so many people at that Boca restaurant. Like, you know, like people that like I was so high, I would tell the most ridiculous lies that I was, you know, like I was, you know, just to get more tips because I needed more money. And I would tell these poor people from the country club, like that loved me, that I was in medical school, you know, at Jackson University in Miami, and I was going to be a pediatrician, and they wanted me to introduce me to their granddaughters and stuff. And it was like, yo, I just needed the cash, you know, like to get more. And it was just like, I was living such a savage lifestyle. And it was like,
when I met you, you told me you were in the military. I remember I believed it too. I was like, bro, this dude's, I didn't know.
I told you I was a barber in the military.
One, you told me you're a barber in the military. Your roommate had a picture of her daughter up on her fridge. And I was like, who's this? And you're like, man, don't worry about that. I was like, bro, who is that? You're like, that's my daughter. And I was like, oh, I didn't know you had a daughter. You know what I mean? And then years later, I'm like, bro, this ain't your daughter, you fucking liar. And you lied about your age for like 10 years.
Oh, forever. When I first got clean, I was so embarrassed that I got clean at 31. I was like, yo, this is insane. I was like, everybody else was like 20 and shit. Like, I was like, I would just tell everybody.
Bro, we celebrated your 30th birthday like 3 times. I was like, how? I remember at one point, I was like, bro, I need to ask somebody, bro. Like, get his ID. We're figuring it out. I need to know how old Drew is.
Yeah, I was so fucked up for so long.
I lied about my age when I got clean,
I was so fucked up for so long, and just like it was so hard for me to take the mask off when I first got down here, because people say that you don't take the mask off in recovery, you hate yourself and stuff. It was the opposite for me. I was so happy and I was enjoying my life so much that I didn't want to like mess it up with anything, you know, like, and I didn't do enough work on myself yet. I didn't work enough steps yet. I didn't understand this recovery thing. And I was just like, you know, like I probably lied about my age till I had 6 years clean, you know, like, and it was just like, yo, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, like it was just like crazy stuff, you know, and you know, it's just part of the disease, like just like attacking you in certain ways. And it was just like that experience that I had with my grandmother and holding her hostage like that. I think I learned a lot of things, like, during the quarantine and during COVID, my grandmom got really sick, and, you know, like she was 91 years old, and, you know, she was dying. And at the same time, I was going through a divorce. The whole country's fucked up. Work, money, everything that, you know, like that, like you can get outside of yourself, the strip club, the casino, all this shit is shut down, you know, and I was just stuck with myself. And it was like, all right, you know, like I'm a dive into these steps. I'm gonna do all this recovery stuff, and then meetings and stuff were shut down. And it was like, you know, like God just had me in this big ass house by myself that, you know, like I you know, like I had bought with my ex-wife and thought like, you know, like this was life, that we had made it. And I remember sitting in there and getting a call and, you know, having to go take care of my grandmother because the hospice nurses hadn't showed up yet. And, you know, like there, you know, like somebody had to step up to the plate, and the rest of my family was in New York. And I was like, yo, like, this is my chance, you know, like this is my amends. This is, you know, this is some real life 9-step shit, you know, like this is where, you know, like you get to, you know, give back to this lady everything she gave to me, man. And like, you know, like people say it's a humbling experience. For me, it was life-changing to have to pick up your 90-year-old grandmother, you know, and, you know, she couldn't walk. She stopped talking. And this lady gave me everything. Old school Italian lady, you know, like gave me my first glass of wine at like 9 years old. Like we grew up in her house. She taught me how to gamble, taught me how to do everything. Like, yo, I love this lady. Never turned her back on me. You couldn't say nothing bad about Andrew in front of her. I smoked crack in her basement, pawn all her wedding rings, sell everything in her house, and come back the next day and she'd have a hot plate waiting for me saying that I was the greatest person ever. Like this lady gave me everything, and to like be able to bathe her at the end and wash her and take care of her and drive back and forth from like Fort Lauderdale to Deerfield every day, sometimes twice a day, you know, for the last 5 months of her life, and take care of her. And like, yo, the hospice nurses, I remember like these bohemian ladies, they were the nicest ladies ever. And they telling me like, Mary is so lucky to have such a great grandson. And that was like the first time I'd ever heard that. That was the first time like I'd ever heard that like I was like a good family member, because I'd been like such a shitty person to my family for so long that, you know, like that's what I was afforded by a 12-step program. That's what NA and recovery gave me, you know, like it was like, you know, it was a life-changing experience. And then like when you go through something like that, like, you know, nothing else really matters, because God put it in my life at the perfect time, because like, yo, like, nobody thinks that 8 years clean, when you've made all the money you want to make, like you've gone all these places, you've owned all these businesses, you traveled the world. We went everywhere, Brian, like, and then, like you don't think that your wife, your ex-wife is going to walk out on you on your wedding anniversary, on the same day. You don't think that your father's going to die from cancer on Father's Day. You don't realize that your grandmother, like, and when she got sick, like, it was like immense for all that. Because like, even though I got to go see my dad before he passed away, and like, he came down here and he got to see me get married, and I got to take him to the Heat game and sit on wood to see LeBron.
It was dope.
Like, it was dope, but it was like, I should have been there more for him at the end. And I beat myself up real bad about that. Being able to be there at the end for my grandmother was like what was God's greatest gift to me in recovery, to give me back, I think, for like a lot of the bad things I did. It hurts. Like, it's sad seeing somebody die, but to be able to show up every day for them, like, and be the person that like is counted on by the family. You think like my mom, like you met my mom, she crazy as hell, dog. Like, she drunk half the time and all that stuff. And like, like my dad was the pillar of the community, but you think my brothers, who are like high class businessmen in New York and stuff, you think they thought that like Andrew would ever be able to show up for anyone?
Yeah.
And it was like, yo, I held the whole thing down.
Bro, I remember like when I started to meet your family, it's like surreal, because like you tell me all these stories, and like, honestly, something like, man, I don't know what's true or what's not true. And I remember you started telling all these stories, and I remember talking to your brother, and I remember your brother being like, bro, we thought he was dead. Like, at one point we just were like, bro, Andrew's just off the chain. We just like have gave up on him. Like, when you hear that about like family members that really do love you, it's crazy to see, because I think as addicts, we're the only people who don't give up on each other truly. Like when I see a person struggle to get clean for like 10 or 5 years or 20 years or whatever it is, like, I know that it's possible that they can get clean. Like, we don't really give up on each other. Sometimes we set boundaries with each other. I've had friends that I've been like, bro, like, I just can't fuck with you unless like you get clean. Like, it's someone else's turn. But like, I still love them and support them, and we'll meet them at a meeting and do whatever I got to do. But at the same time, it's like, when I got to meet your family, like, it was real for me, because a lot of them were thanking me. I remember your grandma was like, thank you so much. And bro, I still like, even though like now I feel more of like a man, but like I still felt like a kid then. You know what I mean? I think I was like 27, 25, maybe 26.
Yeah, you're 10 years old, 10 years younger than me.
Yeah, I was 10 years younger than you. And I remember like your grandma being like, thank you so much for helping Andrew. Your mom was like, you saved Andrew's life. It's a surreal feeling, as somebody that is just like, bro, to me, a part of me still feels like the kid who smoked crack in social studies.
Yeah.
Like, even though like I help people or do whatever I can, sometimes it doesn't even feel real when someone is like thanking you, for like saving their life,
And it took my mom a long point to get there, because I remember having 5 years clean, and like, having my first really good job, and having a first business.
You were selling drugs.
Yeah, my first had a business, having my first really good job. I think at the time I was driving a Maserati, and I was super gassed. Like I was on top of the world. And
I was super gassed. Yeah, I remember when you went from the Honda to the BMW to the Maserati. I was so excited for you. I remember we went to the dealership together.
Yeah.
I remember you still had the Honda. You like drove the Honda there.
Yeah.
We fucking took a picture together.
Yeah.
Like, when you see somebody in recovery make it, it's like when you grow up in the hood and you see someone like come out of the hood.
Yeah.
Like when someone in NA or recovery, whatever, AA, whatever it is, like becomes successful. It's a cool feeling, bro. You
love it.
You root for those people.
I love it. I root for those people, and at that point, like my come up was so fast that like, and back then I don't think like people had seen it, and like they didn't realize, like I tell everybody, like even though there was money, property, and prestige, I never stopped going to meetings. I never stopped working steps. I never stopped, calling my sponsor. I never stopped doing service. I never stopped being involved. And doing all that still and accumulating all that. I remember calling my dad down here, for Christmas, and my dad, coming, and I'm like, yo, I'm going to take you to the Heat game to sit on the wood. We're going to do all these cool things and stuff. And, but I want you to come to Friday night meeting with me, like the big meeting down here in Fort Lauderdale. And I was like, yo, I want you to see me get a medallion and stuff. And I remember my mom being in the background and saying like, Andrew, that's fucked up. You can tell all these people all these things and stuff, but to have your father come all the way down here and spend this drug money on him and think that you can buy his love with money and all this stuff when I know what you're down there doing and stuff. She's like, I'm not dumb. Those people, your cousins, they show me your Facebook. Like, I see what's going on. She's like, and I'm like, Mom, like, I got a good job, Mom. Like, I got employees. Like, I got people that depend on me. I got people that look at me. I'm clean. Like, I help tons of people get clean. Like, like I'm a good person. It hurts to hear that.
Hold up, though. Because originally you had done this again to them. So when you first got clean, you stayed clean to 9 months.
Yep.
Had your family fly down here to see you get a medallion. Then you had to tell them that you used.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. I had 11 and a half months clean, and I drank. And I didn't want to like say that alcohol was a drug, man. And I drank, and they came down here, like to see me get my 1 year medallion and all this stuff. And 2 nights earlier, I had picked up a white key tag. I had fucking used again, man. So, and I was like, how did I get here? I was defeated at that time. Like, I was defeated, but like the love of the rooms that I received, like 32 years old. Never had shit, never had nothing. I was working at the car wash, like I had a little bit of money. I had just gotten that Honda Civic.
You love that Honda.
I had just gotten it. The payments were $199 a month. I couldn't even afford the electric windows, so I had the roll-up windows still. Yeah. I didn't have no sunroof. I had the little AM/FM radio with a CD player. It had the cloth interior, but I would wax and wash that thing every day, and it was mine. It was the first thing that was mine. And I treated that Honda like it was a Rolls Royce. And I washed it every day. And like, I had accumulated like a little life. And like, I threw it away so fast. And I was so devastated over that. But I remember having my head down and crying, man. And, and I'll never forget it, man. Like, over the years, like, there's been a lot of people that are detrimental, but there's this old guy in the meeting church. Church said to me, he's like, look, son, he's like, there's one or two things you could do, man. Like, like you could go that way, or you could go this way. And he's like, but you need to pick your head up because you had your head down long enough. And he's like, I want you to go pick up that white key tag, just like you were picking up your 1 year medallion tonight. And you hold your head held high. And he's like, and from now on, you stay clean. And he's like, you're going to show people relapse is a reality, that it doesn't have to be a requirement. And that, and that people can go out and relapse and come back and learn from it and stay clean. And he was like, you're going to be able to show so many other people that relapse that it's possible. And, like, here it is almost 10 years later, I'm still clean. Yeah. And like, there's so many people that like, like that.
That's crazy. You're coming up.
Yeah.
No, you have 9.5 in May 1st. You get 10 years.
Yeah, May 1st, I'll have 10 years clean.
Wow. That's dope.
So crazy. It's fucking decade.
Yeah, it's wild.
And, I never thought, like in those 10 years, like, it's crazy. Like if I go back to the treatment days, like, and like the assignment they gave you in treatment, like, where do you see yourself with, like if you had 5 years clean, like, my goals were like, I was so broken and such a bad junkie that my goals were simple. I wanted to be able to have a relationship with a female. I wanted to be able to have 3 friends. 3 friends, a relationship with a female. I wanted to be able to keep a job. I wanted to be able to read a book. That was 4. And then number 5 was I wanted to be able to go to my parents' house and them not lock the doors on me. That wasn't after like 90 days clean or after a year.
5 years.
Because now you like see these kids and they got 90 days clean and they're like, oh, I wanna own a halfway house, or I want to run a treatment center. Bitch, you can't run a half mile, but you want to run a treatment center. Yeah. Like you're sitting out. You don't go to work. You sit all day and you drink tall cans of Red Bull and blow Newport 100s all day and understand why your life ain't getting better. Like, and nobody sees like the work that gets put in or the work that you do. And like that was the reality of my life, that I was so broken that those 5 things, like, I didn't see them attainable in 5 years. Like, I was like, like, that was out of reach.
Yeah, that's beyond your wildest dream.
That was beyond my wildest dream. So, like, when, after, like, a year or 2 years, when, like, I came up pretty fast, I started to accomplish stuff, but I worked so hard because in my head, I had 30-something years to make up for.
Yeah.
I was like,
one thing I could say is because I live with you. So I knew what it was like to see somebody work 80 hours a week. And I remember, like, because my mentality changed too, because I used to work 12, 16 hours a week and go to school. So I never really had a full-time job, especially when you have a commission-based job. When you have a commission-based job, you have no concept of going to sleep, especially if you have the ability to work 24/7. So as addicts, we really excel in those commission-based jobs, sales jobs, or whatever it is. it's kind of unhealthy for people that get clean. They kind of have to just serve ice cream and get a fucking lazy, regular 9 to 5 job and then just pay their little rent and build some stability because you can get out of control. And I remember I was working 80 hours a week and you were working 80 hours a week. And a lot of times people would be like, oh, you have this or you have that or whatever. And I'm like, motherfucker, we don't sleep.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. What prepared me, though, for all that was I was so grateful for the car wash job.
Yeah.
Because that prepared my first 18 months doing that. That prepared me for that.
I used to bust my ass to make $400 a week. And I was so happy with it. I couldn't even believe it.
You were folding jeans at Barney's getting talk shit to.
Hell yeah, bro. I used to do the back stock at Barney. They wouldn't even let me do the sales.
Yeah, they didn't want you on the floor.
No, I remember I'd be like, yo, like, can I get the sales job? And they're like, yeah, as soon as someone quits, somebody would quit. And I'm like, what's up with that job? And they'd be like, oh, you're so good at what you do. Just keep cleaning the bathroom. I remember I used to clean the bathrooms, and it used to be like on rotation, where it used to be, it's supposed to be someone else's job to clean the bathrooms. And I remember, like, my manager, the store manager, was like, hey, Brian, you're just going to clean the bathrooms from now on. And I was like, okay, cool. And I cleaned the bathrooms. And I remember this other lady, Brenda, who worked there, was like, she was the meanest one there, but she actually stood up for me. And she was like, hey, it's supposed to be each of our jobs to clean the bathroom. That's not right. And I was like, yo, I really don't have a problem cleaning the bathrooms. Like, it's not really an issue. Like, I put gloves on, only we use it. It's not like people are really destroying it, you know? Like, I put gloves on, I fucking spray it with bleach, and I'm out of there. And I remember she made a big deal about it. And I really didn't care. I was like, yo, I'll clean the bathrooms.
Yeah.
Straight.
Just grateful to have a job.
Yeah,
that's
bro,
why I was like, yeah, there wasn't one car I wouldn't wash.
20% off employee discount. What?
I was just happy to like feel like I felt important at the car wash. Like it was crazy because like, yo, I was broken and beaten for so long that like I didn't have any purpose. So it gave me a little bit of purpose and it prepared me for everything.
And you got to meet everybody.
Meet everybody.
Yeah.
That job plugged me in with so many people and like advanced me in my career later on by so much. Like people don't even know. And that's why I like when these new kids come up to me and my sponsees and they're just like, I want to do this or I want to do that. Like, you know, like I sit their ass down, man. And it's like, yo, you got to fucking stay clean. If you don't stay clean, none of this other shit matters. You know, like I've seen so many people, and I know you have too, like so many people in our lives that, you know, had multiple years clean and made millions, traveled the world, had every exotic car in the world.
End up suicidal.
Yeah. You know, like want to kill himself, start using, kill himself and everything. And it's like, yo, you know, like the main thing has always been NA. The main thing has always been recovery or 12-step program. Like without that, I'm nothing. So like, you know, like it, and that's why like people like, I don't care if people make fun of me because my Friday nights, you know, consist of, you know, going to the same meeting that I went to when I had 60 days clean. Cause I'm gonna continue to show up there every Friday because like, yo, like what is on the other side? You know, like what is the
I mean,
reverse?
bro, the same people that like clown me for being like a recovery geek. I lived my whole life trying to be cool. That when I first got clean, like I really wasn't cool. Like when you think about like how I was back then, like when I first got clean, like I was still cool, but like I didn't need to be everybody's friend. Like I was still funny and like people liked me or whatever. But like I remember like I wore glasses. I didn't have like cool clothes. I didn't care about none of that stuff because I cared about it my whole life. I always cared about what the outside looked like. I always wanted to be like the most popular kid in school. And like, bro, there was 5 solid years of my recovery. Well, I didn't do nothing but go to meetings, read the book, listen to speakers, hang out with people at meetings, take people to speak at jails and institutions. I needed that because I needed to get so far away from what I used to be. And a lot of people see me now. I'll be flexing sometimes. You know? Like now I'd be wearing like ridiculous shoes like at the gym, you know? But like, bro, there was a time where I didn't even know what sneakers were. Like I didn't like this shit is like funny to me. Like when I would go buy a pair of shoes that like you used to sweat or something, you'd like, bro, you don't even know what those are. I used to just get it just to piss you off.
And now you're in the gym working out in the Dior ones or the chunky dunks and I just want to slap you.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But yeah, dude, it's always been, you know, like the recovery thing. And it's just like, you know, like I'm not confused. I know that everything that I have is borrowed from God and that he blessed me with all this through recovery. You know, like, I know why drug addicts use. I know why they do. But I believe that if you have a substantial amount of clean time, you have a working knowledge of the 12 steps and you're doing service and giving back, like, the option for me, you know, like you know, like is just like it's not, you know, because
and at the same time, like, why would I stop doing what got me here?
Exactly, and it's just like, yo, my life was so fucked up that there's not like glorifying drug use or this and that, but like, yo, there was no happiness in my using. There was no popping bottles of Moet. There was no hot ass strippers. There was no like
definitely no piles of money. There was no Louis Vuitton briefcases. There was no yachts.
There was no using no ecstasy.
Yeah.
Like yo, you hear the drug ecstasy.
Yeah.
Like yo, it just sounds sexy.
I did ecstasy twice and just bought crack.
It sounds like it's like I sniffed cocaine and did ecstasy. That sounds fun.
Yeah, it sounds
like
sexy.
It sounds sexy. It's like yo, it's like design. It's like yo,
designer
I
drug.
would go out with like my friends that like would drink beers and do ecstasy and like go out like yo, we're gonna roll face tonight. Like it's gonna be crazy. Nigga, I wanted a syringe. I wanted that.
Yeah.
I wanted that boy. Like, you know, like that shit would call me. I could
never make it inside the party.
No, that shit would call me.
Bro, I remember we all got dressed up. Me and all my friends were going to go to like this sick ass party. At the last minute, I bought Coke and it must have been cut with meth. Because as soon as I did that bump, I got lockjaw and I couldn't talk. Yeah. And I remember we got to the party and everyone was like, "You coming?" And I was just like,
stuck.
I remember my heart was just like pounding onto my chest. And he's like, "Bro, I'm going to leave you here if you don't say nothing." And I couldn't talk. And I remember he's like, "I'm not leaving the keys." And I remember I stayed in his hot-ass car. You know how hot it is in Florida. Yeah. In his hot-ass car, sweating balls, finishing the last of the Coke.
Yeah.
Like, I never even made it to the party. That's why, like, when people are like, "I can't believe you never drank," or "I can't believe you don't drink now." Like, I never did. Like, that, I never even was attracted to it. And for you, I think, like, alcohol is, like the kicker for everything.
Oh,
you know
for everything. I mean, dude, my father had a bar and a nightclub. Like, I grew up on that stuff. But it was like, dude, like, and that's the crazy thing is like, to all the partiers, I was disgusting because I do the drugs. But even to the drug addicts, I was disgusting because like, yo, I would be in the dope hole and I would shoot a bag up and then I'd pull out a brown paper bag with like a deuce of Heineken in it and I'd start drinking the beer. And the fiends would look at me and just be like, yo, they'd be like, "You're disgusting." I'd be like, "Bitch, you got track marks and fucking ashes on your face. Shut up."
You can't shoot.
And I'm in there with some dusty ass Timbs on, just drinking a beer. Like, you know, like I used to be that fiend that thought he was a drug dealer. Mm-hmm. Like, I used to go to the block and want to chop with the drug dealers. Mm-hmm. And, like, I would, like, they would have to escort. Like, sometimes they give me free bags just to leave. Because I would come up on the block, I would cop, and then, you know, I'd go around the corner real quick, do my thing, stash the rest of my shit in my sock, and then come back. Because I had nowhere to go. Yeah. Nobody, the normal, wanted to be around me. And then I would come back and like and I knew about sports and cars and stuff. And I talked to the drug dealers about it and stuff. And they just be like, they would just like all look clean and good. And like, I was in such a delusion. And, you know, like, that's the first, you know, disease that I believe that I suffer from is the disease of a delusion. Because like, I always think that I'm somebody that I'm not. And I would literally thought that I fit in there. You know, like that these guys wanted me around.
I remember being in high school and even when I was in my active addiction, like I always thought that people still thought I was like holding it together. Like I didn't think that everyone thought I was a drug addict.
Yeah.
And I remember this one time I was in school, I was fucked up, and this kid was like, "Yo, I heard that this girl started cutting herself." And I was like, "Damn, that's crazy." He's like, "Yeah, bro, she had to go to the hospital. She got Baker acted. She's cutting herself." He's like, "Bro, that bitch is so stupid." He's like, "At least you do drugs." And that's when I realized like people are equating my drug use to cutting yourself. Like, I'm not, like, people
like
are...
You're not hiding shit.
Yeah, people are aware that my drug use is, like, self-harm. And that's when I started to realize, like, I don't do drugs to enjoy life. I am doing drugs to escape life.
Yeah.
And I thought I was hiding that from people because guess where I did drugs? In school. Guess where I did drugs? At home. I didn't do drugs at parties. Like, one of the number one ways of, like, finding out if you're a drug addict is, like, do you do drugs alone? You know? Yeah. It's like, bro, if you're using alone, you got serious fucking issues.
Yeah.
When you start getting high by yourself, you're not getting high, you're escaping. And once you build that that mechanism to go through life whenever you have a bad day or you feel a feeling you don't want to feel, it's so hard going back to it because you know this thing works so well.
And I was like the sick drug addict. Like I only wanted to use alone. Like I didn't want nobody around, nobody telling me how to use, nobody telling me how to load my rig or chop my pills or stick my stem and stuff. And that's how I realized like when I got clean, like the other stuff that I had problems with. Because I remember like when I had a huge issue with gambling. And You know, it
Bro,
started off fun.
How many years did I try to tell?
Yeah, so many years. You probably saved me millions of dollars if I listened to you the first time.
I remember being like, bro, just ban yourself. You'd be like, I'm going to. And then like years would go by and I'm like, bro, I don't understand how you're gambling. And not just that, bro, when I met you, you wouldn't spend $1.
Nah.
So I remember you probably had $500,000 in the bank in the beginning, you know? And I remember you still had your halfway house bed. And I was like, bro, buy a bed set. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You're like, nah, this shit is gangster. I was like, I remember being like, bro, you're a millionaire. You don't even have a bedroom set. Nah. And you were like, this shit is fire. I'm like, dog, you sleep on a twin bed.
Yeah.
And then I was like, at least get a dresser. You had lived in like this room that we lived in a nice townhouse. Yeah. We lived in this townhouse. You had a little ass bed, and then you had like 70 Jordans, which is the only things you would spend money on. 70 Jordans, and then like a little TV like this big that you would sit on. Like, bro, buy a dresser to put your TV on. Like, you can't just have your TV sitting on your kicks. And you're like, nah, dog, this shit's gangster. And I remember when we went to go buy, when we moved in together, I was like, all right, we're gonna buy furniture and we're gonna buy plates and shit. So I filled up the Walmart cart with like silverware or whatever. And you're like, dog, put this shit back. And I was like, what? You're like, yo, we ain't gonna spend all of our bread all at once. All right, we're gonna move in. We're gonna buy the necessities. Then we're gonna buy things slowly. And until then, we're using paper plates and paper forks.
Yep.
And you're like, and I didn't have that much money. You know, I had like 20 grand to my name. And I remember I was like, well, I'm down to spend, 10 to move in. And you were like, you're going to spend half your bread. That's why you're broke. And I was just like, bro, it's necessities. And you were like, no, it's not necessities.
Dude, and it's crazy like that. And it's like, like, I don't think it's taught enough in recovery, like when you first get clean and stuff, and like people become successful and stuff, because I firmly believe that drug addicts can be anything they want to be.
1,000%.
If you can cop crack and heroin in the middle of a snowstorm
with no job,
0 degrees outside, freezing ice, on Christmas when all the drug dealers are with their family and stuff, and first you have to locate $20. And that's enough hell doing that in a snowstorm. And then once you locate the $20, you have to locate a drug dealer willing to serve you on Christmas.
Or drive, and then you got to come up with a lie while you're not there on Christmas. Like, being a drug addict is like, you really got to be a CEO.
Yeah.
Because you really got like 70 things going on at the same time. You got this person you lied to. You got that person you lied to. This person owes you money. This person you can still hustle for a ride. This person can like go cop for you. Like, plus you got a crack habit. You got an opiate habit. You got to fucking come up with different types of concoctions every day to not get sick. Sometimes you got to do a little bit of subs. Sometimes when there's no subs, you got to get like some fucking whack-ass perk 5s or some shit. Like, you got to make it happen every single day. You're putting out fires.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, like, we do all this, and then you bring that hustle to recovery, and we're able to do amazing things.
Yeah, but that's what it's so frustrating when you meet people. Like, because I was one of them. When I got clean, I used to just complain about everything.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to do this. I was just like so negative. No, this is never going to happen. I go apply for a job. They ain't going to hire me. I remember I applied to one job and they wouldn't hire me. I'm like, that's it.
Yeah.
No one's going to hire me. Bro, you think I would go cop and go to one drug dealer and just be like, oh, well, I guess I don't have drugs that day. Like, nah, bro, I made it happen. I went to 1,000 different people if I had to.
I mean, and it's just like, yo, there's nothing you can't do if you were a drug addict. Like, that's why I tell kids all the time, they're like, oh, this job sucks. This sucks. Like, yo, I literally had to con so many people and sell myself to so many people to get high every day for 15 fucking years. I don't care if it's the shittiest job in the world. If you put what's the worst job to have right now? I believe the worst job to have is if you have to be that motherfucker that calls my phone every day trying to sell me that car warranty.
Dog, I've been getting
they
so many
are
car
the fucking
warranties.
worst every day.
I think I could sell them.
They got
really
the recording
do.
line, and that's what I was about to say. Like, yo, I was such a good con artist and so bad, and that's probably got to be the shittiest job in the world. But if I had 30 days clean, and you told me you were going to pay me $500 a week to sit in air conditioning, put on this headset, and just call people all day, I'd be like, you're lying.
I used to do it.
You going to give me $500 to call somebody? And yo, I would sell them car warranties. I would just get somebody on the phone. I'd just be like, look, yo, you need this. Your car's a piece of shit.
Yeah,
bro,
you need
this.
Especially if it wasn't a scam. Maybe it really was a good warranty.
Yeah, like, you need this warranty. Because, I mean, Susan calls me every day, 4 times a day. trying to sell me that car warranty.
They called me today, and I was like, bro, I want to hire these motherfuckers because now they have an automated system.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, who's doing their IVRs? This is fire.
Yeah.
Because it must get... Obviously, they're doing it because people are paying for it.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't still be a thing.
And they're relentless.
Yeah, bro. And the thing is that some people might need it. I almost got into the business because at one point I was like, bro, this is
I wish I had somebody in my life as relentless about. I wish that as relentless as Susan calls me every day for that car warranty. Damn, I need that like lights a fire under my ass. I'm like, yo, I need to get as hungry as Susan. Yeah. Because I tell her to go fuck herself every day.
She called him off.
And she called me, and it was the same way when we were using drugs though. Yeah. How many times did a drug dealer tell you to get the fuck off the block? Yeah. How many times he told you couldn't? Yo, he would tell you on the phone, you cannot show up here with $8. If you come here with $8, I'm gonna fuck you up and take your money.
And you would show up with $8 and come up, and you just have to like get him to laugh. You gotta like.
You would have the craziest. I would have the craziest concoction. See, I got your $10, but on the way here, there was this little girl, and she had one eye, and she was standing on the corner with one eye. There was a fish swimming in it. But I brought you a Swisher Sweet that but I really stole it from the corner store. But like, yo. I didn't stop at the corner store. I went to the bar on the corner because that was the only place to serve me. And it was $2.50 for this Swisher. and he would just talk his ear off for so long that he'd be like, man, take it.
And you knew that there's a 50-50 chance that if he just showed up, you would somehow get served.
You knew it.
And bro, like a lot of times with like
you weren't taking no for an answer.
So I used to work at call centers when I was using my first job ever was at a call center asking for money for the Police Athletic League and the Veterans of America. And bro, it would be on an auto dialer and it would dial out like 1,000 numbers a day. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like this like fancy fucking phone room job where you got like 20 sweet leads a day that were incoming calls or some shit. This is like outbound 1,000 calls a day. 99% of the calls are fuck you, don't call me anymore. And you'd have to answer every call. Hey, this is Brian Alzate. I'm calling on behalf of the Police Athletic League. How you doing today? Hey, is Max there? And I learned tonality. I learned how to like get someone's attention. I learned like these things. And then I get clean. I don't want to talk to nobody. I get clean. I lose all my social skills. I get clean. Oh, I don't like people. Bro, when I got clean, I remember being like, oh, it's so weird going to meetings. I don't know nobody. Yeah. My sponsor used to be like, motherfucker, how the hell did you get drugs? You got drugs by yourself? No, you had to call somebody. And he's like, all these people with clean time, you got to look at them like they got the firest fucking dope in town. Yep. And you call that motherfucker with a smile on your face and say, hey, what's up, man? How did you do it? Because I need to do it too.
Yep.
Hey, bro, how did you get clean? What are some things that I should do my first year clean? Ask questions. You got to get interested, bro. If you're not interested.
People come up to me and tell me, hey, I don't want to, I'm embarrassed. I want to ask somebody to sponsor me. Bitch, you ain't go up to the door, man. You ain't never ask him for a front.
Yeah.
You know how fucking embarrassing that is when you fucking just cop $30 worth of crack and you smoked it all up and you're all geeked up and you can't go home without one more bag. You need something, and you just got to crawl around that corner and you got to just fucking beg and lie and steal. You would do whatever you had to for that next one. But then we get clean and we don't want to do whatever we have to, for that next day.
For sure.
And
it's like sometimes like dealing with drug dealers was so much easier than dealing with regular people because like when I would ask my mom for money, she knew it was for drugs and I knew it was for drugs.
Yep.
And I would just have to look at her and like be like, it's not for drugs.
Yeah.
And she knew it was for drugs. I knew it was for drugs. And like just beg her that I needed a haircut. Just beg her that I needed to get like some shoes and just beg her like some type of story.
Haircut was a good one because you always needed a haircut when you were
always needed a haircut.
My shit was always fucked up.
Not just that, but my boy Jeremy, shout out, Jeremy used to cut my hair and he would fuck that shit up, but I would come home high as shit and my mom would look at me, she's like, you didn't cut your hair. I was like, yeah, it did. But like, yeah, bro, the haircut was the fire. And it's not, and I say that with shame because I ain't no gangster, hustler, you know what I mean? Bro, I was like, my biggest hustle was telling my mom I needed a haircut, So it's like now when I got clean, it's like, bro, this shit is sweet. Like, bro, when I got clean, like, bro, shit became sweet real quick.
Yeah.
Maybe not like the first 6-7 months. I was kind of depressed and like wanted to kill myself and like had no friends. But after a year, it was fucking pretty fucking. There wasn't really nothing you couldn't do because any goal you have, you just work towards it. And if you don't get high, you accomplish it. Like, that's it. It's like anything you want to do, if you stay clean and you're consistent, you just work towards it. That's it. If you want to get in shape, hey, you're not using, just fucking keep doing it every day and then whatever. You want to make money, you just fucking save, you make money, you invest, you try to do the different things, you meet other people, whatever. Yep. You want to fucking go to school. You know how many motherfuckers I met that like couldn't read that became, that got master's degrees?
Fucking lawyers and doctors. You see it in the rooms
That
all the
shit used
time.
to and it's normal.
Normal.
It's like, oh, this person's a nurse. Oh, this person's a doctor. Oh, this person's a nurse. This person's a nurse. This person's a nurse. My fucking nurses that used to trick and smoke crack, like it blows my mind.
Yeah, and that's my favorite thing about recovery too. Is like, you know, like when you're sitting in a meeting with a bunch of newcomers, and they're sitting there, and then they see that, you know, they see you walk in, and they're like, oh shit, did you see the car Brian pulled up in? You know, like, you see that and stuff like that. And I'm like, yo, yeah, I saw it. And they're like, oh, he's so lucky. And I was like, that ain't luck. Like, do you know what he did to get there? Do you know what he did his first 10, 12 years clean? Do you know how many times he's worked the steps? Do you know how many men he's taken through the steps? Do you know how many people he sponsored, how many people he helped, how many shitty jobs he had, how many times that he wanted to get high and didn't? Like, you know,
and I was happy before the car.
Yeah.
I was happy when I got that Mac.
I was happy as my first year clean. I don't care what anybody said. That's
I
the
said
best.
all the time. I was like, bro, regardless how much money I made, how much times I travel, how much shit I buy, there was nothing better than being at the halfway in your first year clean.
Busting some space.
I'd never play space, but smoking bogeys, just laughing with people.
Yeah, just
like,
making fun.
Your first year
pranks.
clean was like, it's like when
insane.
it's like when you're a kid and you go to summer camp, like you're never gonna get that time back. Your first year clean, your life is so simple and your expectations are so low. Your life sucks so bad when you're using that when you get clean, you don't really expect much. Like, if you fucking found $5, it will like make your whole week, you know? Like, if you fucking went to a meeting and someone remembered your name. I remember the first time I went to a meeting, someone was like, hey, bro, I'm like, fuck, man, they know me here.
Yeah,
you know, like,
so gassed.
You're like, gassed as
the
fuck.
first time somebody with like more than 2 years clean recognizes you and gives you a hug and
you
shit.
start feeling good.
Yo, you feel like you're like a basketball player.
Yeah, people are like, yo, you should do the key tags. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna do the key tags.
Like, yo,
you
I've arrived.
Let's talk about the key tags, bro. Getting key tags was like beyond any other thing. I don't care how many cars I accumulate. I don't care how many houses I get. Accumulating key tags was the highest high I've ever felt. When you got that 6 months, and now you gotta wait 3 more months to get 9 months, you're just like, fuck. But getting a year clean is hands down the best feeling
getting
ever.
a year clean and getting 2 years clean, they're hand in hand. Because I remember picking up my 2 years clean, and the key tag is black and gold.
There's a lot more ego in the 2 years.
I wore a black and gold shirt, you know, and I was like, yo, like, I've arrived. Like, I get to stand up. I got multiple years. But when that first time in that meeting, after you pick up that first year clean and you get that glow in the dark key tag, and then at the end of the meeting, you know, like, they do the announcements, the secretary's report, and then, you know, like, at the end, they're like, with anybody with more than a year clean, you know, please raise your hand. And that first time you get to raise it, you shoot that shit up fast, like you just won the championship.
And everyone's looking at you like, yo, you just got a year. Yeah, bro, it's so good. People are clapping for you. Yeah. People are hugging you. People are texting you all day.
It's the best.
The amount of love we get in the rooms is like inexplainable. I get text messages all the day, randomly. Like, I always want to say that it wasn't always like this. My first year clean, ain't nobody text me. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't, because sometimes kids are like, oh, well, how come no one shows me love? Motherfucker, I had to show love to get love.
Yep.
There are people that reach out to me on a weekly basis because I've reached out to them. There are people that I've known for years that were like, yo, happy birthday, bro, I love you. Yo, you're coming up on 14 years, congrats. Yo, I was thinking about you today. I get so many people to show me love. I was talking to somebody the other day, and I was like, because I went to Oregon, and people were like, oh, damn, you know, like, you need a ride? And every time, like, I travel, like, mad people offer to take me to the airport.
Yeah, it's fire.
Knowing that I have a ride to the airport that I can Uber or drive myself or whatever, but people just want to, it's different when you get picked up by somebody you love from the airport. And I used to always tell people, like, bro, you know who loves you by, like, who offers to take you to the airport.
Yeah, who shows up to pick you up.
Because when you got a 4 o'clock flight, ain't nobody, I don't care how much they love you, bro, ain't nobody fucking taking your ass to the airport at 4 in the morning.
And I don't care what anybody says, like, calling the Uber and stuff like that, or, like, having to park your car is not the same. Like, you want to get dropped off, and then you want to come up, and you want to get that hug, that pound, and you're like, yo, I'm home, you know, like, you know, like, you throw your bags in the back of the car, and you're like, yo, this is good.
And it's like, bro, with 13 years clean, like, I got a lot of close friends. Like, I got a lot of people in my life that would do anything for me, help me move, fucking take me to the airport, show up to any type of event, support anything I'm doing. And it's like, only in recovery do you really see that. Because, like, people our age that are out of, like, school, bro, they probably got, like, 2 or 3 friends. People don't have friends. Bro, my parents didn't have friends growing up. Bro, my parents had like 3 friends.
Yeah, me
you know,
too.
in recovery, you just get so deeply connected to people.
Yeah.
That is, bro, there are people that we got clean with that they're family. You know what I mean? There are people
you got that bond or connection.
There are people I don't even like.
Yeah.
But I still love that person
They're
because I was like, bro,
family.
we got clean together.
I know what they've been through.
Yeah,
you know,
but
I know their story. I know their
whole
struggle.
shit,
you know,
bro.
like
We might not see eye to eye. I might not
Nope.
even like you. You might talk shit about me. But motherfucker, if there was a zombie apocalypse, like we sticking together.
We're sticking together.
You know what I mean? Like
I know that you know how to stay clean. You know how to do this. I know that you're gonna know how to fucking sprinkle the garlic on that motherfucker.
That's vampires.
Hit that bitch with the wooden
With
stick.
the wooden stake. Yeah, it's like the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. And it's like, honestly, like a lot of times in recovery, like even the people I don't like or see eye to eye on some things, I still got a lot of love for them because they're my people. Somebody the other day was like, they always keep messaging me like this Latin shit, like come to this Latin convention, come to this Latin thing. And like, bro, I'm Hispanic, but I really don't identify, like, I'm not really like repping Hispanics, you know what I mean? Like, I really try to just root and go hard for addicts, bro. I want to see an addict in the White House. I want to see an addict become a politician. I want to see an addict fucking in the school district. Not secretively.
I want to see an addict fly a plane like all the way across the world and just like break world records and and then when the motherfucker
Olympics
gets to the podium and stuff, he, you know, like.
And just now people are starting to say they're in recovery because back in the day, like 20 years ago, it wasn't cool to be in recovery. Ain't nobody saying they've been to treatment. I want to see more addicts publicly in recovery. Because a lot of times people are like, oh, I'm sober now. But they don't really say they go to meetings. They don't really talk about the 12-step process. They don't really talk about how they still have sponsors and stuff like that. A lot of times people just say, oh, I don't drink anymore. But they're not really, because like, bro, when I got clean or when I was using and I would hear about celebs who are clean, like all they did was say that they're clean now. I was like, but how?
Yeah.
Like, what do you do? Like,
and I think like some actors and stuff are starting to come out. I know that it's really cool that I got some friends in Atlanta, and they said that the tight end for the Las Vegas Raiders, this guy Darren Waller, he's nice.
He has a podcast too. Yeah, he's like one of the best.
You know,
right?
and he like goes to meetings.
Yeah,
like he like.
They see him at meetings.
Yeah, like he shows up and goes
sick.
play, and that's sick. Like, you know, like imagine pulling up to the meeting, like, oh yeah, that's Waller, and he in there like sharing and stuff. Like that's super dope. You know, like
I think down here we've seen some celebrities. You know, not to break their anonymity, but like down here we've seen some. But like in LA, it's really popular, bro.
Yeah,
you go to a meeting in LA, you'll see a lot of celebrities and stuff like that. But like honestly, that's like the whole purpose of the podcast is to try to like put so many stories of success. Society just starts to view using drug addicts as potentially amazing people. That like these people can really change their lives at any moment in time, and that anybody can get clean, and that just because someone is fucking panhandling doesn't mean that in 10 years they can't become a CEO. Just because in 10 years they can't become a doctor, or in 5 years they could change their life around. Because so many times people just write those people off.
And it's super important too, like for them to see like it come from the addiction, you know, area, because like, and the name of the podcast is perfect, like that hell has an exit, because it actually does. Because for me, I was in hell. Like, you know, like God opened the gates and blessed me and let me out, because like, yo, my life was hell. But I think like a lot of times, like America as a whole loves the underdog. Yeah, they love the comeback story, except when it comes to addiction. Yeah, you know, like if you know, like you can't, if you're just a crackhead, dead down junkie, like, you know, like they don't know. Like you think 20 years ago that the people that I was panhandling and robbing on the corner and the stuff that I did, that people would think that, you know, I could ever amount to anything, let alone become a CEO of a company or help people get clean and, you know, like reach out and be able to do community service and not just take, but like give, you know, and that's where my life is at now. Like, especially like my first 5 years of recovery, like you get clean and you get so excited. You just want to accomplish so much for your own self that like you almost like, a lot of it is ego. A lot of it is, you know, like, but like, yo, when you are used to not having shit and then you get some shit, you just want more. Yeah, you want more.
I remember this one time, I did something super ignorant, right? And I remember somebody was like, yo, bro, you should act like you've been here before. I was like, bro, I haven't. Like, this shit is crazy to me.
I haven't.
Like, bro, I really haven't. This shit is blowing my fucking mind. Like, I don't think this is like, this ain't normal to me. You know, I remember there was a time where we used to go, bro, we went to Council Oak for like years. There was a time where you gambled so much and we lived together that we used to go to I think one of the best steakhouses in the country in South Florida, right? Yeah. But we would go to Council Oak.
Comp the whole meal, treat me better than Floyd Mayweather.
Bro, you bought me so many dinners, I'm forever grateful for you. And like real shit, and like I had bread, you know? And I remember like, bro, we went there every single day. And I couldn't even believe that this is our life. I was like, bro, we go to Council Oak on a Tuesday, on a Wednesday, on a Thursday. We were here last night. Thank God I never gambled and I never had a gambling addiction. But like, bro, I ate off your shit. You know what I mean? We were there every night, and every day it would blow my mind.
And
that
people
we were
would think it
even
was so crazy, and they just talk about all this stuff. And I remember like sometimes it would get to me when like people would say stuff about me, and then I would remember like, yo, I wasn't promised this.
Yeah.
Like this is all extra credit.
Yeah.
You know, like this is stuff that like, you know, like the dreams are made of. Like I was supposed to be dead or in jail.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's like, bro, I try to be humble. And I try not to like I really do try not to brag like or anything like that. Like it doesn't come from like I was happy before any type of success I had. But like I sometimes cannot believe that this is really real life.
And I'm different, man. I guess I'm just from a different breed, a different era. I'm a lot older than a lot of my friends.
You're from New York.
But yeah, I want people to brag. Like, I think that shit is crazy that motherfuckers that used to smoke crack and shoot dope and rob people and be homeless accomplish the stuff that they do. Yeah. Like, I want to hear about that shit.
Yeah, I remember.
I need to know.
I remember we have a friend who, I think like at 8 years clean, was a multimillionaire at 8 years clean. The guy came from nothing. And I remember he spoke for you, and I was like, how do you do? You're like, man, he didn't talk about being a millionaire or nothing. and that's just his personality, bro. He's just not like that. But some of us are, you know, and like sometimes like I enjoy seeing like success stories, but like sometimes with like conversation with like finances, like people get like salty or start feeling a type of way, or because you got people in the meetings that can't pay their halfway rent, you know what I mean, or like people really struggling financially that like sometimes I feel like uncomfortable talking about it. But like to be honest with you, like you're one of my closest friends, and like I seen your whole come up. I'll never forget being at Council Oak and somebody had ordered me like the most expensive steak there is. And I remember I eat like a 2-year-old. You know this. I eat dinosaur-shaped fucking chicken nuggets.
You order ketchup with your steak.
I order ketchup with my steak, water. I'm not fucking well-mannered at all. And I remember I tried the steak and I was like, oh, this is like not that great. And I didn't really want to be mean, so I wasn't like it's trash, but I was like, no, I really didn't like it. And you were elbowing me like, oh, that's a $250 steak. I was like, $250? Bro, I didn't even know they made steak for $250. And I was thinking like, man, I wish you would have just gave me the money, you know, because like I couldn't eat it, you know, but like that's where we were in life. Yeah. And that was the first time I ever went there. I probably was still making $12 an hour working at a treatment center. And that was the first time we ever went. And then 2 years later, we're going there every single day to the point where I started going in my flip-flops and basketball shorts. Like it was just like, there was no line. The food came out super fast. It was the best service, and I didn't have to pay for it.
Yep. It was just, and it was like, I'm living my dream. And the thing that people don't understand is that, like, I'm the same person now with whatever success as I was, you know, before that. And none of that's going to change. And, you know, it's just me. Like, especially these last 2 years.
I remember when you came home and you just got your first job making $60,000 a year. And I still remember, and you were living in a trailer, right? So I lived in my parents' house. And I remember you used to be like, yo, your parents' house is dope. I'm like, brother, living with your parents is whack as fuck. You know how corny I feel trying to bring a girl over to my parents' house? Like, I hate this. I would go to your trailer because I'm from Davie, so I know that you lived in a nice trailer park. And I was like, bro, this trailer park is lit. Like, this shit is fire. And you'd be like, nah, bro, it's a trailer. And I remember being like, nah, like, I want to move in. I remember you came home and you were like, I made it. And I was like, what happened? You're like, bro, I just got hired. And I was like, yeah. And you're like, bro, I'm making $60,000 a year. You think anybody ever thought I would make $60,000 a year? You're like, dog, I'm fucking rich. Yeah. I remember you're like, bro, I'm fucking rich. I'm fucking making $60,000 a year. You're like, I got fucking 70 Jordans. Yeah. And I remember like how ecstatic you were to get like a real job that was in air conditioning. Yep. Because that's when you went from washing cars to like having a real business career. Yeah. And I remember like being happy for you. Yeah. I was like, bro, I seen Drew jump up and down when he started making, and you probably were making pretty good money at the car wash. You're probably making 40, 50 grand a year. You know what I mean? You might even have been making more money without paying taxes. You know? So I was like, bro, I seen Drew jump up and down over like a 10 grand a year salary raise. You think he's not going to act totally ignorant with what's going on in his life now? Yeah. You know, over the years, like I've seen you make your career in finances your number one goal. And I've seen you super depressed. I've seen you your most miserable ever at your height of your finances.
I made over $1 million in 2015, and I was the most miserable I'd ever been. and it was because I made money, property, and prestige my higher power. I got diverted.
I lived with you, bro. I remember you just being, bro, you would complain about everything. It's like
everything.
You'd be like, you would get a car and then complain about how they fucked you over at the dealership.
Yep.
You get a car and then complain about how fucking the check engine light is on. You'd fucking,
it was all a problem, and it was because I forgot what the main purpose was. And it comes and goes, but you learn as you grow in recovery, as you get growth, especially the last 2 years. I probably, I don't even know if I made money this year. I don't care. It just doesn't really matter anymore, I know that people say it's easy to have that, because I was very smart with my money and I saved it and I have great investments.
Yeah, one thing I can say about you is you're a fucking saver, dog.
Yeah.
As much money, because I'm going to keep it real with you, because people always talk shit. And I know you personally. So as much money I've seen you spend at the casino, I've seen you save quadruple.
Yeah.
So even though I do think your gambling is out of control, everyone has a vice.
Well, you got to give me congratulations now. It's 9 months, no hard rock.
9 months, no hard rock.
9 months, no hard rock.
That's what's up, bro.
Yep. I never thought I'd be able to do it, but when the pain gets great enough, you got to apply the same things, because it got to a point where people would, it's bad when your accountant has to pull you to the side and say, I know I work for you, but we're friends on the side. And as your friend, I need to tell you, and put paperwork in front of, and you have a problem. And then the last 2 years with all the, if I didn't have a solid program the last 2 years,
dog, I've seen you win personally. I've seen you win 60 grand plus probably 4 times.
Yeah.
And I remember the next day just going back to your miserable self.
Yeah. Dude, it's just like anything. It's just like the drugs. Yeah. It'll never be enough. And I tell all my sponsees, I tell all the newcomers now, because I've done it. I learned my lesson. The money will never be enough. The women will never be enough. The clothes will never be enough. The job will never be enough. It's an inside job until you're okay with yourself. And it talks about it in the literature, in our readings, it talks about being okay with or without. And it took me 8 years to figure that out.
Yeah.
And the last 2 years, having my father die on Father's Day, going through divorce, having my grandmother die, going through the quarantine with COVID, with all these issues going on, being arrested clean. You know what it's like to have 9 years clean and, something come up from years ago where, you have to go to jail clean and you're just sitting in a cell. Thank God you have the financial means for a lawyer and bail and stuff like that. But you're sitting in a jail cell and you know that everybody's posting your picture on Facebook. Everyone's talking shit about you. And it's just but at the same point, where I was at in my recovery at the time and the work that I had put in, and certain people point out to me that God is so good that he gave you this obstacle at the time he did, because he knew you'd be able to handle it. Because my first couple of years clean, my anxiety was so bad. If my dad would have, would have died on Father's Day, or I would have went through a divorce, or I would have messed my finances up, or I would have went to jail or something like that, who knows where I'd be, because I wasn't ready. I wasn't prepared.
And a lot of times, that's why it's so important to stay active in your recovery, because you never know when the storm's coming. You don't know when the divorce is coming.
You don't know when any of that shit's,
you don't know when someone's going to die. So that's why it's important to
I couldn't imagine not being plugged in the way I was these last 2 years.
Yeah, bro,
my program is I'm so grateful for my program, and I'm so grateful for never straying away. People can say a lot of shit about me. I've done a lot of stuff, that I'm not proud of, using and clean. I'm a man, I make mistakes, one thing that, that they can't say is that the last 2 years going through all these problems, that I didn't handle every situation with dignity, that I didn't walk through everything with my head up and handle it like a man. And I would not been able to do that if it wasn't for the program, Narcotics Anonymous, if it wasn't for recovery, a 12-step fellowship, if it wasn't for having the men and the relationships I built in my life, the people that show up to your house,
For sure.
I remember the day after, my significant other had left, dude, I thought I was going to kill myself. I didn't know. I was so codependent. I was so, I hadn't, and I was so miserable that I hadn't understood, and it took going to therapy. It took working steps and doing this stuff that I had to do to realize, what my part in it was. And, realize that I was a miserable asshole, and that, I was lucky that she didn't leave me 5 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, she should have. And it was like, you know, like situations like that come apart and you're able to put the work in and see it. And, you know, like I'm just grateful that even though using was a thought, it wasn't an option. I was surrounded by too many good men. I was surrounded by a program. And it's like, you know, like I always say that the greatest growth comes from the other side of pain. Like when you experience enough pain and you're able to walk through that pain on the other side of that, it's just like amazing.
Yeah.
Like where I'm at today in my
it's
life.
Honestly the best thing that ever happened to you, bro, because I remember like you had two options. Just like when you first got clean. It's like, bro, you could use this fucked up situation and make your life worse, or you could use this fucked up situation and make your life better. And I don't know what happened, but the next day you're like, bro, I'm getting in the best shape of my life. I'm going walking, I'm eating salad. You really did put like ain't no energy like breakup energy.
Yeah.
Like when you have that energy, you're either gonna use it in smoking crack or you're gonna use it to like get in the best shape of your life.
Yeah.
Like when you go through that breakup, when you go through like financial trouble or like whatever pain, like you can use that positively or negatively. And I've seen you use that really positively. You changed the whole way you look. I'll post some before and after pictures. You used to look like you look like the fucking fat penguin from Batman, but tall.
Damn.
Yeah, you look like shit. You look like stir-fried dog shit.
I'm gonna let you get that one off.
But yeah, I love you, bro. I appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me. I love it.
I'm telling you, bro, like, you know, being friends with you for like these past 9.5 years, really 10 years has been wild. There's not too many people that know me the way that you know me. You know what I mean? And there's not so many people that can say the same thing about you, bro, you know? So I appreciate you coming on the show. And I know, you know, I was like, man, I got to save Drew for like when the show starts to get hot. But I appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, man.
Love
Thank you for having me. Love you too, brother.
This show is not affiliated with any specific 12-step program. If you or a loved one is struggling with an addiction, please find a local 12-step meeting. If you believe you may need detox or drug treatment of any kind, please call 888-699-9395 to speak to a specialist. The show is sponsored by United Recovery Project, a state-of-the-art drug and alcohol rehab facility. You can visit our website at unitedrecoveryproject.com.